Good day, everyone. HighRoad Solution is pleased to present this online webinar entitled Love is in the Air, What You Can Learn from Big Brands About Lifecycle Messaging to Drive Member Love. Our speaker for the presentation today is John Brandt. My name is Jeff Baker, and I will be your moderator for today's seminar. Today's presentation will last approximately 60 minutes and include a specific question and answer period at the end of the session. You may ask a question with the web conference system simply by typing it into the Q&A box on the lower right-hand side of your screen and then clicking the call out button or hitting enter on your keypad. These instructions will be repeated later in the program. If you have any technical questions during the event, please email support@highroadsolution.com. Today's webinar is being recorded and all participant lines will be muted during the live program. John Brandt, a sales director and email strategy consultant for HighRoad Solution. John has over 7 years experience in the email marketing space. He cut his teeth as an email marketer and marketing manager with Thomson Reuters and spent more than 3 years at Blue Hornet, a major enterprise-level ESP, as the Director of Strategy and Operations for the Blue Hornet Agency channel. And with that, I would now like to turn the floor over to John.
Great. Thank you, Jeff, and thank you, everyone, for joining us today. As mentioned, we're going to go ahead and jump into, essentially, keeping with the Valentine's Day theme of February, of how we can really drive member engagement or how we can get our members to love us, and what we can learn from big brands around their lifecycle messaging strategies to see if we can incorporate those into the association nonprofit space. So today's agenda, what we'll cover here today, essentially just recognizing, it's a jungle out there. I think we all know that. I think we all feel sometimes like there are so many strategies out there. You don't know which one to actually use or engage with. So we'll talk a little bit about that and jump into that. Essentially, also, again, what can we learn from our brothers in arms? What can we learn about the big brands? What are they doing? What can we see that works for them that also could resonate here in the association nonprofit space? And why I think you can outperform the big brands on a lot of these strategies. Also, what are our consumers saying? So I think a lot of times we're kind of looking over at our peers or looking at other brands to see what they're doing. But are we also taking into consideration what our actual consumers are, what our members saying, and what do they want? And then bringing it back to what direction, again, you should be taking in 2014. So some ideas and some relevant strategies that work for you guys. Okay, so again, so much time, or so much to do, so little time. As this photo entails, it sometimes seems like we are pulling our hair out. We have stacks of stuff to do on our desk. We have a full load of things to do. How do we then also incorporate new things? Who has time for incorporating new things into our daily work routine? So what we'll talk about here today is maybe some strategies that can maybe help in making your life a little bit easier. So essentially doing more automation and things like that. Okay, so what I wanted to start off with here today first, before we jump into our discussion, is getting a few things, some house cleaning things out of the way. So first, an email or an email campaign should not be considered an e-blast. If so, that may be our first problem. Relevancy is still the ruler of the day. So if you are blasting your constituents or members with email, that doesn't seem very relevant. Getting blasted by an organization doesn't feel like a real one-to-one communication. It's kind of like the massive amount of coupons that I get peppered with every day from the Gap and Banana Republic because I purchased a couple Christmas gifts from there this past holiday season. That's how we get our constituents. That's not how we get our constituents to show us the love, essentially. One-to-one communication and relevancy is going to be key. Also, let's make sure that we take a step back and put ourselves in our shoes of our members. They're not all the same, and we shouldn't treat them like they are. I get a lot of emails from bloggers and groups that I belong to in the email marketing space, which I bring up because a lot of them are not practicing actual best practices. I get things that are relevant to maybe beginner email marketers. And, you know, that's really not what I'm interested in getting. I'm really, you know, not to pat myself on my back, but I've been in this space long enough to say that when I get an email that's kind of email 101, it kind of is irritating because I have a preference for something more advanced than that. So kind of knowing your members and kind of what level they are is going to be important for kind of what content you serve up to them also. So the key to this is going to be rising above the noise. So noise being their inbox, all of the different emails that they're getting from their members or from different groups that they belong to or different organizations or their peers or their friends, trying to rise above all the noise, all those Gap and Banana Republic coupons that they also might be getting. You want to rise above that. And again, relevancy is the key to that. Okay, the importance of email. Oh, it looks like for some reason my text isn't, oh, okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Okay, so how many of you are sick and tired of seeing the article out there every January and February that says email is dead? I mean, I get peppered with them at the beginning of every year saying that email is dead. And then every single year, we see studies that come out that show the contrary. And oftentimes, I think it's kind of wishful thinking by some marketers that email is actually dead because it's really, I mean, let's be honest, it's not very sexy. It's steady and predictable, kind of like the tortoise and the hare with the Bugs Bunny character there, the hare being more of the cool, maybe mobile app kind of social marketing world, whereas the steady performer is more of the tortoise. You know, it's consistent. You know, we can predict our engagement rates and our conversion rates and that sort of thing. So that said, email is truly the only medium right now out there that is a one-to-one communication medium. When you listen to the radio, watch TV, it's obviously a one-to-many. Or when you're driving home tonight and you pass that billboard, it's a one-to-many type of communication. Or if you get a catalog, like I get a catalog from REI in the mail, it's a one-to-many because there's sections in there for, you know, bicycle riding stuff. I'm not interested in that. I like my camping stuff. So again, a one-to-many kind of a communication where with email, you can truly cater your messaging to your members. There was a recent McKinsey study that showed that 91% of U.S. consumers use email daily. Yes, daily. And the rate at which email prompts conversions is actually 3 times greater than social. But of course, the caveat to this is that I'm not saying that 100% of your marketing budget should be focused on email. It's obviously an important part of the mix, though. An important part of any marketing budget is going to be your email marketing and your general communication strategy. That said, let's talk about the big brands and what they're doing out there. So I've got this this picture here that looks a little bit like a NORAD war room, kind of depicting the marketing conversations at some big enterprise brands. It kind of feels like some of the discussions that I was in with in a former life with one of the enterprise brands that I worked for. But let's talk about what they're doing this year. So what's the focus for a lot of these guys? Mobile first. So that's not new this year, but it's still a major focus for 2014 as the percentage of emails read on mobile devices continues to go up by double digits. As a matter of fact, a recent study showed that over 60% of all emails are opened on a mobile device. So what that tells you, obviously, is that you should be thinking mobile as well. And they're thinking mobile for sure. When I say they, the big brands, the big Fortune 500 companies are thinking mobile first. Also, automation. So even though there's lots of brands that have been early adopters in the automation front, now we're seeing waves and waves of organizations doing more automation. Those early adopters have really paved the way for marketing automation. Now, big, some medium, even some big brands that weren't on board early are starting to do a lot of marketing automation. A real common one now that you probably maybe realize as a consumer is the whole next logical product strategy. Next logical product obviously being what Amazon has done a masterful job of doing, which is to say if they purchased product A, they are likely also going to like product B. So go ahead and send them an email about that. Or if next logical product being if I buy a printer, then 6 months from now, I will probably want the toner cartridge to be replaced. So sending me the next logical product. And all of that, of course, is a marketing automation program that these big brands are doing. Also, what you'll hear a lot on the conference road trail is leveraging big data. Big data, I'm almost getting sick of hearing the term big data, but it's, I tell you, when you go to some of these email marketing shows and it's standing room only in these sessions that talk about big data. People want to be in tune with how to leverage all of the data that they have. And it was funny because last year at one of the shows about big data, they actually were talking about, well, maybe you should focus on being good at small data first before you jump into focusing on big data, which was kind of caused a lot of people to chuckle. But it's so true. Let's kind of walk before we run. So, but needless to say, the big brands are definitely starting to be more focused on big data. What can they glean from the data points that they have? And the marketing or the collection process for their data is becoming more and more advanced. One of the things that you'll hear a lot is the big brands that are actually tracking the traffic patterns, say at Target, like where are you going within the store? How long are you staying within certain areas? Disney is doing a huge push for this too. If you go to Disney World, you're going to be offered up one of these things called a Magic Band, and it's your wrist bracelet that you can put your actual entrance pass on to the park on there, and you can purchase things with it, and it has an RF frequency element in it that you can actually ask to have turned off so that they can't track noticing where you are in the park at all times. But needless to say, all of that data, I'm sure, is being used to leverage marketing campaigns within Disney World so that they can predict, your next purchase and things like that. So that said, that leads us to the last piece, which is a big one, is predictive analytics. So a lot of big brands now are doing a lot of stuff around predictive analytics. So again, who is the most likely to convert? Who can we predict is going to be a conversion, and for what product? So there's a lot of probably not a lot of best practices around that right now. Predictive analytics is really going to be one of those things where a lot of early adopters are getting on board with that now this year and starting to kind of pave the way. And there's a lot of brands that are kind of hanging out on the sidelines waiting to see how this all pans out before they invest in it. But some kind of cool stuff around that going on now as well. So let's take one step back, though. I mean, we talk about Fortune 500 companies or big brands and what they're doing and what we can learn from that. But what are our actual, consumers are saying? What are they actually saying? Because I think sometimes we spend a lot of time, money,